Hey everyone, it's me. I know there's usually a warning that I've kind of just kept in place since I think season 3, but I wanted to get out in front of this episode in particular because if you don't live in the States, we've had quite a few gun massacres in the past few months. And the reason I bring that up is because in this episode there is the use of a gun. And originally there was supposed to be the sound of a gunshot, and after all the shit that's gone down last week in particular, I decided to take that out. So not only is this a warning for there is a use of a gun in this. There's no sound effect, but there is the use of a gun. Also, because I took that sound out, there is a bit of a weird cut. I didn't really know what to do with it. I didn't want to just say the word bang. I felt that was kind of... that would have somehow made it worse in a way, I feel. So there is a bit of a weird edit. It's near the end of the episode, so I just wanted to put that warning out there because I know, especially in these times, uses of guns is kind of a sensitive thing, and rightfully so. And I haven't really used guns a lot in Sable. There have been very few times that I can remember that guns have been used, but when I wrote this, it felt like that was the appropriate thing to do, and now, yeah, that was it. That was the warning. Thank you so much for being patient with me. This is the finale to our Germany arc, but by no means the finale of Season 5. So, without further ado, here's the episode. Enjoy. Sable, Germany, Part 6. They hung in space as if they were suspended on strings, their arms outstretched, fingers separated as far as they could be. All of their heads were pointing down, looking into nothingness, and their mouths were all hanging wide open, as if they were shocked right before they passed. Whether they were all mechanical or a hybrid of machine and man, Archimedes could not tell. Metal chunks that were once arms and legs floated all around these hanging giants. Archimedes even swore that he saw a few fingers dancing in the distance. Then there was the singular head that did not have a body of its own, and Archimedes thought that this was the most horrific sight of them all. Most of its flesh, for he didn't have a better word for it, had been ripped away, and now there was just a metallic skull silently screaming towards him, one red eye staring right into his very soul, if he even had one anymore. After a while, Archimedes had to look away, instead focusing on his own 2 feet as they were so close to the edge of the cliff he found himself standing on. The lady in black had told him what these sleeping giants were, though he could barely believe such a thing. These were the creators of the Crimson Web, the multiverse. Through them, all life was made. These were what started all mythologies. Every religion could be traced back to these metal monstrosities, and they were all dead. Every single one of them, their lifeless forms just floating in space for the rest of eternity. I don't believe this. And yet, they still exist. It matters not whether you believe me right now, Archimedes. What only matters is that you eventually come to your senses. You're the last key we need for the final door. Paradise is just moments away. All you have to do is become our prophet." They had been talking for what seemed like days. The lady in black had shown him so much, these dead gods the last. As much as he didn't want to admit it, her arguments were sound. They made sense to him, and that was what scared him the most. He was almost ready to go down the path that so many Archimedes had done. But was there a chance that he could be the one to change his fate? Was the Crimson Web really worth destroying? "I know what you're asking yourself." This startled Archimedes, snapping him back into focus. "The short answer is yes. You can turn away. You can forget all of this has happened, and you can go back to your world and live a peaceful life. Might even be able to die of old age too, if you're so lucky." "But you don't think I'll do that?" "I would like you to not do that, but I have no say in the matter. Your physical form isn't here, just your spirit. I can't do harm to a spirit. I can't torture it, nor will I. You need to accept your fate, Archimedes, whatever that fate be. I cannot make up your mind. I can only make a convincing argument, and I believe I have." "I'd be lying if I said no." He sighed, shoulders slumping before he decided to sit down, his eyes locked right back onto the screaming skull before him. "So, these things were powerful enough to make a multiverse, and they couldn't even make it right?" "I think that's an oversimplification of the issue, but yes, there were some imperfections. It was inefficient, unstable, and most of all, not permanent. The web was always going to break at some point, and with it, it would be the end of everything. Not just life inside the web, everything. The engineers were greedy. They were selfish. They learned the art of making their own cluster of worlds, but their design was rushed, imbalanced. It was like they read the beginning and the end of a book without reading the middle, the foundation. Sure, this web held a semblance to the clustered worlds of yore, but it is by no means stable. But using people like me to destroy it, that somehow keeps everything fine? Yes, we're killing the web before it reaches critical mass. While lives may be lost, there is still a chance for reality to not rip itself to shreds. Many will die, but so many more may be able to live. How? Are you just gonna build another cluster of worlds? Are you just gonna do what the engineers did? The lady in black sat beside Archimedes, shaking her head slowly. No, Archimedes, we aren't just going to do what the engineers did. The engineers stretched the very fabric of reality to its limits when creating the Crimson Web. The web itself is an affront to reality. The engineers forced this into being, forced an infinite amount of lives, of worlds to just suddenly exist. Reality can bend, sure, but there are limits, and the engineers pushed it to the very brink. If we allow the Crimson Web to keep on existing, it will keep pushing against reality more and more until it finally snaps, and everything erupts into chaos before burning out. There will be nothing if we do not put an end to this, Archimedes. And how is this new paradise you want to make any different from what they did? Won't you just be bending reality to your will? The void will work within reality's means. Like I said, you can bend it a bit. Just make sure you don't overwork it. We won't build a massive amount of worlds. We'll make one, and make sure that this one will last for all millennia. Maybe it won't be perfect, Archimedes, but at least it won't threaten everything with its presence. It's not right that a bunch of dead gods get to destroy everything, especially if there is a way to stop all the destruction. And you think you know how to do it? There's no uncertainty about it. I know we can do it, and I can show you how. Before Archimedes could respond, the lady in black's hands moved to press against the sides of his head. He could feel the same burning he felt once the navigator had grabbed for him back in the spire. This time, it didn't hurt, not a bit. In fact, it felt comforting in an odd way, and he closed his eyes, letting the world melt away before him. Soon, his mind was assaulted with visions of him working with the Black Imperium to create a spire, but more importantly, a machine that could control the spire, using it as a way to shatter the doors of the Crimson Web in order to let the silent void come through. He may not live to see the end of the Crimson Web, but he would set things in motion that would bring about a new world, a better world. All Archimedes had to do was accept his fate. When he opened his eyes, he was back inside the spire, the navigator having left him on the floor. The metal giant was walking about, obviously racking its mind on what to do next.
Navigator, I told you this was a mistake. We can't jump. We're stuck here.
It's fine. We took out Archimedes. I don't know how he died, but it's not important. Without him, the Black Imperium can't bring about destruction of the web. As far as I'm concerned, Julie, this was a success.
The navigator moved to pull its helmet off, a loud hiss emitting as white smoke poured from underneath the helm. Once it was off the navigator's form, her true face was revealed. Her bronze skin was littered with scars and burns, her right eye missing, a gaping hole in its wake. Her hair was cut short, almost non-existent, and her nose looked as if it had been broken several times from all directions. Whoever this woman was, she had seen better days. The blue screens erupted all around her once again, a warm smile crossing her bruised lips. This is Serena Jones, recording for the last time. I have been jumping for a long, long time, desperately trying to fight back against the contagion known as the Silent Void. I haven't had a great track record. In fact, every world I've managed to get to has been destroyed. Hell, even my own world is gone now, and everyone I ever loved gone with it, except for Julie. I'd never let anything happen to her. Rebecca would fucking kill me if I ever let anything happen to our little girl. Still, I made one last jump, and it seems to have been a success. I managed to capture the Archimedes of this world and kill him. Hopefully, with his death goes any chance of the Silent Void breaking the last thread in the Crimson Web, but only time will tell, and mine is quickly running out. I leave this for whoever finds it, as well as all previous logs. I know the Silent Void will try and fight back, but hopefully, if someone finds these logs, we can put an end. Serena dropped dead to the floor, 2 bullet holes freshly made into the back of her head. Archimedes stood behind her, trembling hands holding the pistol that killed her. Blood poured out of her while blue screens flashed all around her, a girl's voice screaming at Serena, pleading for her to get up. Archimedes ignored all of it, moving towards the entrance to the spire, stepping over the bodies of his soldiers as well as the newly made corpse of Serena. He didn't bother looking back. There was no point to it. She was dead, and he was alive to fulfill his purpose. That was all that mattered. Nothing else. He threw the pistol down to the ground and stepped out into the fresh air. He allowed himself a moment to take a breath before he regained focus. He had work to do. He needed to set plans in motion that would take years to finish. So, there was no time to wait. He brought a communicator up to his lips, activating it. "This is Archimedes. All of my men are down, but I think you should send some to my location. I found something you won't believe. Something that I truly believe can help us." Epilogue. You can't be serious. Thousands of years later, Serena Jones and Sebastian Blue sat in their office right outside campus, staring into the eyes of a man who had just stormed in and threw a bunch of papers down upon their desk. "Professor Jones, I am 100% serious. I wouldn't even be here if my employers were not committed to this. I wouldn't have even made all of these charts." "The charts are convincing, son, don't get me wrong, but it just seems too good to be true. This proposal you've brought to our attention." "Yeah, almost like you're pulling our leg and wasting our time." "What Professor Jones means, good sir, is that we just find it hard to believe the Black Imperium wants anything to do with us, and just how much money they're willing to throw at us if we say yes." "Professor Blue, Professor Jones, with all due respect, come the fuck on." "Excuse me?" "Look, you two are the leading experts on AI technology. Hell, you basically wrote the fucking books on it. After the fall, no one thought we would reach this level of technological advancement again, and not only did we do just that, you two have helped pave the way for us to go so much farther than the ones who came before us. The Black Imperium is very, very interested in hiring you both. All you have to do is say yes, and the money is yours. We'll provide you the space, the team, everything and anything you need. It's yours. Just say the word." The two professors spoke to one another for what seemed like hours, the man in the black suit just patiently standing there, darting his eyes back and forth between them, silently hoping one would just say yes already. Finally, Serena turned his way, a look of defeat on her face. All right. Professor Blue and I have agreed. We will assist the Black Imperium on Project... what was the name again? Catalyst, ma'am. Project Catalyst.